Hello and welcome to the new video. In today's video we're going to take a look at Shadow Gallade and Shadow Gardevoir in one team in the Open Great League. Why do we do this? Because we have currently, okay, for me it's already over, for most of you maybe it's already over as well. We're going to have the RALTS Community Day currently going on, the Community Day Classic, and so I kind of want to take a look at both of the evolutions together as a Shadow Pokemon in one team. And honestly, we have two Psych-type Pokemon here, which is quite a rare typing, I feel like, recently. You don't really see that many Psych-type Pokemon. I feel like Malamar is like the only one that's kind of viable. You have like the odd Cresselia, but also not really. Like with the current meta, Cresselia is not really great. So yeah, basically we're going to have two Psych-type Pokemon here. We're going to have, of course, a lead that's going to be able to beat the Pokemon that we cannot beat otherwise. And we need something that can beat especially like Poison-type Pokemon, but also Ghost-type Pokemon. And the only real smart answer here is going to be Dunsparce. Dunsparce is literally the only Pokemon that can really fit for all of the Pokemon that we have to beat with the lead. And that basically makes us running an ABB style line here as well. As you saw already in the first battle, we're going to be able to win that one, and we're going to move on now to the next opponent. And again, there are so many Annihilate say swap, and we take advantage of this so nicely with our Gardevoir. Gardevoir is really, really good right now. Like, this Pokemon is really, really strong. Makes me kind of want to play Darkspawn again. I feel like Darkspawn would have a lot of play in the current meta as well. We're going to see Jumpluff coming in here against us again. Like, currently, Ice-type Pokemon are also very good. I maybe want to take a look at those again as well. There's so many Pokemon that are currently weak to Ice. There is so many Diggersby, so many Jumpluff that even maybe something like a Frostless would make sense because they also resist the counter from the Annihilape. But yeah, there are a lot of interesting Pokemon currently running around that you could try out for yourself. But Gardevoir definitely has a lot of play currently thanks to the Ice-type coverage. That's why we're talking about Ice-types, as we're gonna see an Ice-type coming in. As well as, yeah, just generally the charm damage and being a Fairy-type is really, really good right now. And we see here the opponent calling a bait, didn't really work out for them. We can go for another close combat against the opponent here as well. This is going to knock out the opponent's Jumpluff, and we can move on to the third battle. Moving on, we're going to have Licky against us. That's going to be a very neutral matchup for our lead. The issue here is, if you have a neutral matchup, like usually you want to swap out, but this is the thing, the issue with Gallade. Gallade is just insanely squishy and doesn't have fast move pressure. So we have to kind of rely on, I don't know, like getting the charge moves there, which is fast and they do a lot of damage, don't get me wrong. But like, especially with Licky, who's very fast to get to body stamps and stuff like this, I'm a bit worried. And that's why I decided to stay in here and go for a drill run and see on how this is going to go. Interestingly enough, they're running Earthquake, which I didn't really expect here today. And the Earthquake is going to knock us out. We're going to swap out into our Gallade and try to get some energy and then swap out into the Marowak. And this is actually very good for us, especially as I get a free fast move. And so what we can do is we can use a shield, or we can go for a Leaf Blade. And we're just going to generate a ton of energy here right now, but also do a ton of damage against the opponent. So we can go for a swap out into the Gardevoir, go for the full farm down, knock them out. And in the back is Drifblim. And that's game over. Drifblim in the back is horrible. Like, that's why we have the lead of Dunsparce. Dunsparce is one of the hardest answers to Drifblim, but we need it because we want to bait them out with the Gallade so we can sweep endgame with the Gardevoir. Didn't work out in this battle, but yeah, we can move on to the next opponent. Whimsicott. There's actually a team currently which got to rank 1 in the world with Whimsicott, which I maybe want to take a look at as well. But yeah, this is not gonna be the team. I thought it would be the team, but it's not gonna be the team here. We're going to have the Rockset coming through against the opponent. We can go for another Rockset against them straight away afterwards. And with it, so we're gonna see here as well, we are gonna get the shield from them, and they're gonna try to knock us out most likely very soon, but they actually catch the move onto a Gliscor. And I was like, what do I go into? Gardevoir, trying to farm them down, or do I go into my Gallade? And I actually decided to go into my Gallade. And I know that the Leaf Blade most likely would have done enough damage from this range, most likely. But I decided to rather overfarm and get the guaranteed KO as the opponent gets the attack boost, and just take the KO now with the Leaf Blade while getting a ton of energy beforehand, because the energy is really good on Gallade. Gallade up energy is really, really threatening for basically every single team. And we're gonna see here what they have in the back. It's going to be the Alomomola. What a weird team from the opponent. This Pokemon going to be very good, by the way, I think, for the Love Cup usually. Like, this is usually one of the best Pokemon for the Love Cup. Love Cup only, I think, are like pink and red Pokemon are allowed. That's based on the Pokedex entry. Every Pokemon has, like, on the Pokedex entry, yeah, what kind of color they are. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting cup, but as you're going to see here, we're going to be able to win this battle. Next opponent, we're going to have Morpeko on the lead, which is not as ideal, but we will see on how this is going to go. We're going to go ahead and go for the drill run against the opponent. This is going to allow us to get, the Corviknight out, I guess. That's not really what I wanted to have. If we would have hit a Rock Slide here, it's actually would have been enough for us to 3-shot them with another, like 2 more Rock Slides afterwards, which would have been really, really good. But as you can see here, we're not going to be able to get the KO after the next Rock Slide. So, great play by the opponent, great catch there as well. And we can move on now here to the next Rock Slide coming through. It's going to get them kind of low, but not going to take the KO. But what we can do is we can maybe take advantage of the health of Corviknight with our Gallade. We can go for the full farm now with Gallade, and I think this would be the best play that we can go for. Well, let's see how this is going to go. We're going to go for the full farm now, and it works out perfectly. We're going to have now the opponent coming into their Morpeko. We lose the CMP tie. But I was thinking, it might be better for me to still use a shield here, because, yeah, I just want to get shields down. I can swap out still into the Gardevoir afterwards, which would be really cool. And so Gardevoir's coming in, we're going to do a ton of damage, definitely putting them into Leaf Blade range, and they swap out into the Feraligatr. And I was like, I have an idea. I can let the move go through, and I can go for the full Psycho Cut down from this range. This is my only way of winning this battle. Of course, I have to use a shield here, but I need to get up to 2 Leaf Blades in order to knock out the Morpeko from the opponent. And so I'm not too sure if they're going to get to the Psychic Fangs beforehand. Then we lose the CMP tie here, sadly, which is going to be very sad if that's going to happen. But luckily the opponent lets the move go through anyway, and we can go for the KO. Next up, we're going to have Annihilape. Annihilape is going to be a horrible lead. We can swap out into the Gallade, and they swap out into the Toxapex. This is a very neutral matchup because we have super effective fast move. Yeah, not pressure, to be fair. Like, I just want to say, yeah, just you have super effective fast moves here. They don't do that much damage. That's why there is not really a lot of pressure there. But we have at least neutral Leaf Blades, but also we have better pacing. And what I hope to do now is to pace up to 2 Leaf Blades and go for back-to-back against the opponent. That's why I use a shield here. And either like get 2 shields back or like realignment. We have 2 moves now, but I'm not too sure if we can survive a Poison Jab. We will find out very, very shortly. It's going to be the Leaf Blade. It is not going to be enough for us to survive. We have to go for the full form on here now with a Dunsparce. And this is not looking good for us. We're going to have the Sludge Wave coming through. We're going to go for the full farm down here. And in comes the Gardevoir against the Annihilape. In comes also the Diggersby now. And we will see that we can go for the shield against the opponent. This is going to be fine. It is going to be a Scorching Sand coming through. We can try our best to go for a Triple XL against the opponent again. But yeah, this is going to be very likely shielded. We're going to try to get them low. But I'm not too sure if we still have a chance of winning this battle. We have to kind of get... I don't know, like I don't think it's going to be possible. We'll see. We see what the opponent is going to do here. We have still a drill run stored. We have to overfarm by quite a bit. We have to go for a drill run here against the opponent. Can we slow in this one? Is it going to be enough to knock out the opponent's Diggersby? It is enough to knock out the Diggersby, but in comes now the Annihilape, and it depends if this is going to do enough damage against the opponent or not. It's not. Just tiny bit too little here, but the opponent is going to be able to go for a charge move that's going to knock us out here for sure, and we can move on to the next opponent. So, Talonflame in the lead is going to be perfect for us. We have the double super effective fast move, and they swap out into the Morpeko, which we have Charm. And Charm is all we need. We still have to use a shield here though, which is a bit annoying because they're gonna go for the full farm afterwards then, especially as they go for the Psychic Fangs, which we actually could have taken, but they can go for the full farm with the Talonflame now, and that is gonna be very, very difficult because now they're gonna do not super effective damage. It's kind of like super effective damage, to be fair. With the defense drop here, it kind of feels like super effective damage against us, but it's just neutral. But they're only gonna get 4 fast moves in before we go down, or actually only 3 fast moves in before we go down, so we can use a shield here if I wanted to, but I don't. And they go for the fly, and now they're going to be very low, and they swap out into the Miltank, and this game is over. Like, there's nothing I can do here, really. Like, we're too squishy on our Gallade. I'm going to hope that they go for the Body Slam here. This is our only way of winning. They actually go for the Ice Beam, which does way more damage, and now we are very, very low. But Rollout is resisted. And Gallade is going to be able to spam so many charge moves so fast. It is ridiculous. As we will see here as well again, Leaf Blade coming through, but that's not all. We can even go for close combat to knock out the opponent, and this is going to be perfect. Close combat is going to take the KO, and in comes the Talonflame, which you can just farm down and win the battle against. Quicksire is a bit tricky because our lead doesn't really like this Pokemon. We have a Pokemon in the back that's neutral, and we have the Gallade, which is going to be very super effective against this Pokemon thanks to the Leaf Blade. But yeah, they swap out into the Mandibus, and what we're gonna do next is we're just gonna decide to go for a shield. This is going to allow us to still, yeah, survive here a little bit longer. I think I would have survived an Aerial Ace anyway, but like we would have been super low and I didn't really want to risk that. And so I can now go for some hard-hitting charge moves. We're gonna have a Leaf Blade coming through now as a bait. Let's hope that they're gonna use a shield. They decide to use a shield. And with this, so we're gonna use another shield as well. We would have, yeah, basically another charge move sword here anyway as well. But we swap out into the Gardevoir, getting the opponent very low and getting out the Drapion. If I went into the other Pokemon, I maybe had a bit of a better play if I went into the Dunsparce. But now the opponent is going to get a ton of energy here, especially if they go for the Aqua Tail and it doesn't knock us out even. We're going to be in a very tough spot, and I think it's going to be a spot where we cannot just not really win here. We have the Crunch coming through. They don't get the debuff, luckily. I was kind of lucky with this, generally speaking, today. Like, I barely got debuffs from Crunch. But yeah, at the end of the day, we don't really have a lot of health left on our Dunsparce. We still try our best, but as you can see here, the opponent is going to just be able to knock us out. And it is what it is, but we can move on to the next opponent. So let's see, we're going to have Diggersby against us in the lead. That is going to be pretty horrible. And so we swap out into our Gallade, which can get out the opponent's Drifblim. That's not so great, to be fair. But we can go for a Leaf Blade here, seeing if we're gonna double. Yeah, maybe I can actually knock them out here with another one. That would be really cool for us. Hopefully they use a shield. This would be amazing if they could use a shield. They decide to no shield, and with that we can only go for 1 or 2 more force moves against the opponent in order to get some energy. So that's not really ideal at all. And we have to kind of rely on the Gardevoir in order to do some damage. Because, yeah, we don't have really fast move pressure with our Pokemon here. We can still go for a Drill Run though and try to get some damage onto them before Gardevoir tries to sweep endgame. And this is the reason why I do this here is I have 2 shields on the Gardevoir, which is really good for Charm. But also Gardevoir has access to the move, what's called Triple Axle, which boosts our own attack. And this means that if we go for this one, we kind of want to stay in here afterwards because we kind of want to take advantage, of course, of the attack buff. And so I'm forced to use shields now against the opponent. It's not really looking too great for us as they swap out into the Wigglytuff. We know this game is over. And we can move on kind of to the next opponent. Still try my best here. I go still for the Triple Axle, but it doesn't really matter. The Diggersby is just going to be too tough to beat. They actually let the move go through here, which is interesting. And yeah, at this point we can just forfeit because, yeah, what the point? Second to last battle, we're going to have a neutral lead, I guess, Drapion against us. While we do super effective damage, they only do neutral. They have the better fast move, they have the better charge move with Crunch, doing some solid damage. That's stab damage, which we don't have on our Dunsparce, because Dunsparce is never part ground type, it's just a pure normal type. Even the evolution is just a pure normal type, even though it just basically looks the same anyway. Great catch from the opponent here onto the Superior, but we barely did any damage there, and we can go into our Gardevoir, which has to take an Aerial Ace here, which is an interesting bait. As I go straight for the next move as well, I feel like it might just be again another Aerial Ace, and so we decide to let the move go through, which was the right guess this time. And so we are gonna have still our Gardevoir with some energy left, and as we will see here, it's going to be the Drapion coming back in. We can go for a charge move. It is going to be the Ice, Triple Ice there. Triple Ice? Triple Axle. It's a bit late, I'm sorry if I'm, yeah, talking a bit nonsense here, but it's going to be okay. We're going to have the Crunch coming in, not going to knock us out, allowing us to go for another Drill Run, which hopefully gets the KO against the opponent, which it doesn't, because they have a shield, and so it's down to Gallade. Can we win this with Gallade? The opponent still has 2 Pokemon left. We have to go for a close combat here in order to knock them out, and so I decided to use a shield. It's going to be against an Aqua Tail, actually. They don't even go for the Crunch. And the close combat is a CMP type, which is really important because this will allow us to get the KO before they can go for any damage. And in comes the Azumarill. I can go for a Leaf Blade, but as we will see here, sadly, 1 Leaf Blade is not going to be enough to knock them out, or like not maybe into farm down range, or like into range where I can go for another Leaf Blade to knock them out. We need like 3 Leaf Blades here. That's at least what I think. But I can go for a charge move here, and this is going to allow us to get the KO, and this is going to be perfectly fine. And we can move on to the next opponent. Into the final battle here for today. We're going to have a Diggersby against our Gallade again, and we're going to have access, of course, to that Leaf Blade and close combat combination, which is both going to be super effective against them, as they decide to retaliate with, let's see what's going to be, a Fire Punch again. They always bait here, but they're going to swap out into the Dugong, and this is going to be fine because we can go ahead and go for another Leaf Blade. Let's see on how this is gonna go. The opponent decides to use a shield against us, which doesn't work out because we can go for another close combat straight away afterwards. And oh, guess what? We're gonna be able to get the KO against the opponent's Dugong, making it a quite easy matchup for us. So we can go for another Leaf Blade against the opponent as well, which is gonna try to get the shield. It's gonna get the shield from the opponent. Now it's down to our Dunsparce. I decided to swap out straight away, so the opponent does not have the choice of basically, yeah, getting the full farm not done, but he's sadly gonna get attack drops after attack drops here, and this is going to be very, very difficult because, as you will see here, Scorching Sand is gonna get 2 attack drops back to back, and this is going to allow them to survive this hit, and this is going to change the entire matchup, which we're gonna see here now as well, because I let them over farm, and I just have to hope there's something in the back, and that is going to be fine, which... well, it is going to be fine. And so it doesn't really matter too much. But yeah, this team is actually very solid. We're gonna see Gardevoir knocking out the final opponent. And that's gonna be it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to leave a like. Check out the video earlier on. This was a really good team as well with a rank 1 Shadow Obstacle. And I will see you then. Bye bye.